الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر.
Is the practice of collective prayer actually proven? It is certainly proven in its own right, but regarding collective prayer after the obligatory prayers, in any authentic or weak narration, it remains absent. There is indeed one narration which is also considered weak, and it mentions only a single instance. Scholars state that within Hanafi fiqh, there exists a very formal and established principle found in the books of jurisprudence that for any action repeated frequently during the Blessed Prophet's time, even if a single authentic hadith is found, it is still not considered acceptable practice. It's in Hisami, a book of jurisprudence in Nur al-Anwar and Usul al-Shashi, specifically regarding the legal concept known as matters of very common and frequent occurrence. For something occurring with such great frequency, the question arises, why did only one person report it? This act of collective prayer was happening in all 5 daily prayers every single day. So why is it found in only one narration? And even that narration is weak, and it doesn't mention collective prayer anyway. It only says the Prophet raised his hands. Then by deducing that since he raised them, companions must have followed collectively. So many things have been extrapolated, my brother. And those people who follow Hanafi fiqh should anyway say that we follow the specific interpretation of the Quran and Sunnah that has been transmitted directly from the teachings of Imam Abu Hanifa, meaning whenever disagreements arise over interpreting the Quran and Hadith. So we consider all 4 Imams to be on the right path, but who do we follow in practice? Hanafi fiqh. This is what it means to be a Hanafi, doesn't it? Yet in no book of Hanafi fiqh does it say that a collective prayer should be offered after obligatory prayers, nor in any book of Shafi'i fiqh, nor in any book of Hanbali fiqh, nor in Maliki fiqh. Thus, it is not mentioned in any book of the 4 schools of jurisprudence. We are only promoting it out of spite for the Ali Hadith because they made a video clip claiming that collective prayer after obligatory prayer is not proven. So to counter them and claim that it is indeed proven, we have become obsessed with defending it. This is an excess. I just don't understand it. The Ali Hadith people mock the Deobandis asking, you perform collective prayer after the obligatory prayers, where is it proven? Instead of admitting that it is not proven and that we are clearly in the wrong, it is very hard to explain this. Let me explain it again. Where exactly did this fervent defense of collective prayer after the obligatory prayers first appear in our debates? It started when the Ali Hadith opposed it and began mocking us repeatedly, saying that you people often perform these prayers without any real proof. Perform collective prayers after the obligatory prayer, but where is it actually proven? Where is the evidence? We should have simply admitted that it is not there, but admitting our own mistake is hard. It is seen as a matter of dishonor. Although we are not perfectly sinless or angels, it is better to admit that we can also make mistakes. It happened and a practice became common in India. Now it was very difficult to finish this. So Mufti Shafi Sahib, R.A., wrote a complete treatise on it. The then Grand Mufti of Pakistan, father of Hazrat Mufti Taqi Sahib, he wrote an entire treatise that it is not proven anywhere, but also wrote that there is a risk of discord. There will be much discord. If something is suddenly abandoned, there will be discord. So it should be ended gradually, and in mosques where it is happening, let it continue for now. This was a very balanced stance. They honestly admitted that it is not proven, which was the noble way of our pious elders. If something isn't there, simply admit it truthfully. But these professional debaters today, their only job seems to be to belittle and humiliate the opponent. So when an Ali Hadith scholar says it is not proven, then just to put down the Ali Hadith by insisting that no, it is proven, this is a clear excess. What is this logic? It is assuming that nothing correct can ever come out of an Ahli Hadith's mouth. This is wrong. Shall I give another simple example? Just saying that, then you will say, Ahli Hadith people say this, that Allah is on the throne. Though this topic shouldn't be raised. May Allah forgive my mistake. Now that it's been brought up, I will discuss it. These debates again. The Prophet strictly forbade such debates regarding Allah's nature. But now look what has happened in our times. I received a call from a friend in Qatar saying those Ali Hadith have gone astray. I asked, why have they gone astray? They say Allah Almighty is on the throne, even though Allah is present everywhere. So I said there is nothing misguided about this. Because what does Allah say in the Quran about where He is? The most merciful rose over the throne. Allah Himself is saying where He is. So how did the Ali Hadith become misguided on this issue? So they say there is a metaphorical meaning to it, right? Whatever that meaning is supposed to be, I asked them, did Allah ever explain it? Allah only said this much in the Quran, that Allah is on the throne and you should figure out the meaning yourself. So when we also say Allah is on the throne, to hell with the specifics, since we've spoken these words, how are we misguided? No sir, I think you've become a non-conformist, you've become this or that sectarian thing. We had a teacher once, a very staunch and dedicated Hanafi scholar from a respected institution, and Well, some scholars are true and sincere researchers, even while remaining firmly rooted within the traditional Hanafi school of thought and practice. They are researchers too. Someone told him, "You seem very influenced by Ali Hadith." He replied, "I am influenced by Hadith, not the Ali Hadith." But it is Hadith, and brother, we too are influenced by the Quran and Hadith. In the Holy Quran, Allah has stated in several distinct places that the Rahman is established on the throne. Then there are the very clear words of Hadith. A slave girl once came to the Prophet, and in order to check if she was a true believer, the Prophet asked her the simple question, "Where is Allah?" The girl then pointed her finger toward the sky and said, "He is in the heavens." Upon hearing this, the Prophet then turned and said to her master, "Set her free from her bondage, for she is indeed a true believer." So I said to them, according to your mistaken view, that slave girl was misguided. She didn't just say Allah is above, she pointed there. I even gestured with my finger and said, "My brother, please present the religion to the public in a way that is simple." The technicalities of what the Ashari and Maturidi schools say are complex. We hold them in high esteem. They were all great scholars. These debates are appropriate for the learned. They were our elders and seniors. Their beliefs are correct in their own right. Who are these for? These were great scholars. Some lived as Asharis and some as Maturidis. Leave these academic discussions for the scholars to handle. For the common people, Allah should always be remembered using the exact same words that Allah Himself used to express His own beautiful praise and His eternal glory. It is clearly understood from the Quran and Sunnah. When Allah praised Himself, He said, "The most merciful rose over the throne." Where is the merciful? He is over the throne. When praising Allah, we should say, "O Lord of the throne," or "O one above the throne." Where will we point then? Tell me. As for the remaining technicalities and the meanings provided by the Maturidi school, now leave that for the scholars. Do not call anyone wrong and do not speak ill of anyone. There are great scholars on every side, including the Salafis. Both Ashari and Maturidi schools had great senior scholars. We do not intend to single out any scholar and refute them by their name today. They are all prominent. What about common people? The people will say, "We will use the same words for Allah that He has used for Himself." Does that make sense? Now, a very important question arises here. People here often say, "Mufti Sahib tells half the story and hides the other rest," which is why they call me a non-conformist. They note the Quran says Allah is on the throne in several verses, but the Quran also clearly says that wherever you are, Allah is with you. That is also in the Quran, isn't it? So how do you reconcile these two seemingly different statements about His location? Wherever you are, Allah is with you. My dear brother, look, in any language on this earth, you have to understand the context and the usage of words to get the proper meaning. You must always translate by carefully considering the idioms and cultural nuances of that specific language, be it Urdu, English, or the sacred Arabic language. If I send you somewhere and you feel nervous, I would naturally say, "Don't worry, I'm always with you." In this specific linguistic context, being with refers only to my presence through my vast knowledge and my absolute power. Meaning I'm watching you closely and I have the full power to help you. I'm not unaware of your situation. For example, when the prophets Moses and Aaron were going together into Pharaoh's palace to confront him directly, they were deeply worried that the king might kill them both right then and there. So Allah said, "Do not fear, O Moses and Aaron, for I am surely with you both through my help." I am with you both. What does that actually mean? I hear and I see. Allah Himself explained the meaning. I am listening and I am watching, which means my knowledge is perfect. I know every single thing and you already know of my perfect power. So here with means Allah's help is with us and Allah's vast knowledge is always with us as well. So Allah is present everywhere in terms of knowledge and power. But when someone asks about Allah, where is He exactly? We will only use the words the Messenger of Allah told us. And what the Quran told us, here too another complication arises. One major complication is that the hadith specifically mentions that when the slave girl was asked where Allah is, the slave girl gave a reply using specific words. In the heavens, she used the word fi, in, right? Even though it should have been upon the heavens, specifically above on the throne. Some people find a technical point here, arguing that this specific translation is completely incorrect for these reasons. Understand well that in Arabic, fi is used with the meaning of ala, upon. It has been used in the Quran as well. It shows the contained is firmly settled within the container once it's established. Within a container, the word fi is used in Arabic for the concept of containment. Let me put it simply for you. I'll explain it. Look, the word fi translates to in the Urdu language. When we say this particular thing is in it, it means that within this object or space, it has found its place and is located inside of it in a very specific way. Found stability. It cannot move. It's so securely fixed and so deeply rooted there that in this specific linguistic context here, the word fi is used here to mean upon, just to show that although it is technically on it, it exists there with such an immense and absolute sense of stability. Since Allah controls the throne with great power and absolute stability, the word fi was used instead of Allah. This linguistic usage is clearly seen in the Holy Quran. Pharaoh threatened the sorcerers by saying, I will crucify you in the palm trunks. He meant, I will put you on the trunks to die, even though he used the word for in on the trunks, though they weren't literally inside them, but rather on them. It clearly means upon the palm trunks, which is a common way of speaking in that language. The word fi was used instead of Allah, specifically to show that they would be so firmly fixed to those palm trunks that they would be unable to move, almost as if they were actually inside them. We find several clear examples in the Quran where the word fi actually means Allah. So when that girl said in the heavens, she didn't mean inside of them like a container, but rather something else entirely, but rather above them on the throne. We don't know the exact nature of how, nor should we ever debate it. So why did I debate it then? That is the question. This question arises because such debates are stirred up. Someone did it yesterday too. Don't stir these debates. Let everyone keep their views. But if an Ahli Hadith says Allah is on the throne, Deobandis shouldn't get overly emotional or try to turn it into a major sectarian issue between the two groups. Don't try to demean them. It is better to accept the truth respectfully. As for the general public and elders being either Ashari or Maturidi in their beliefs, who are those debates for? They are for scholars. Let them study and debate in seminaries. For the masses, the simple truth from Allah is enough. There are clear texts in the Quran and Hadith. Where is Allah? On the throne. How? We do not know, brother. Look, this is called avoiding both anthropomorphism and negation. You should never deny Allah's divine attributes, but you must not liken them to His creation either, because doing that is clearly wrong. Allah says about Himself in the Quran, I love. We simply accept that He loves. Now the technical question arises. Love is often known as the softening of the heart. So some people have offered interpretations saying love or mercy means this or that. Brother, that debate is for scholars. Let the scholars explain the meanings. When Allah says, I love or I show mercy, what does it mean? Scholars know. We will just say Allah loves. Allah shows mercy. Even though mercy is technically known as a softening of the heart, right? It is a matter of being affected emotionally, brother. We don't know how it works. Allah is kind. He feels pity and He also shows wrath toward His disobedient servants. It is mentioned in Hadith that on Judgment Day, Allah will be so angry with the disobedient, so angry that the Prophet will say, my Lord is so wrathful as He has never been before, nor will He ever be again. Now a question arises. Anger is an emotional state. So God forbid, does Allah experience such states? So now scholars have... The meaning here is let them handle it. They are scholars. What is our duty? The public's? Not to speak ill of anyone, but to say that Allah's wrath is as befits His majesty. His wrath is not like ours. It is according to His divine glory. We simply cannot compare Him to human beings. This is certain, is safer. This belief is easy. There are fewer objections to it, and the chances of salvation are greater. If Allah asks, do you understand? Your Prophet said this about you. Then Allah will say, so what does it mean? Oh Allah, your Prophet didn't tell us the meaning. He just told us that Allah gets angry. So we held the same belief. When we were asked, does Allah show wrath? We said, yes, He does. When we were asked, does Allah love? Yes, He does. Does Allah feel pity for someone? Does He show His mercy to them? Safer means the chances of salvation and safety are higher. So do not get too involved in these complications. And those who are debaters, their aim is to belittle others rather than speak the truth. You should ask about religion from muftis who have properly graduated from institutions. So what I am saying is also the stance of the authentic Deobandi scholars who are officially serving in the fatwa departments of the seminaries. They are well educated, sharing this opinion. I formed no separate opinion. Now don't argue about this because debating these issues is wrong. You did it yourself, now you speak. You aren't even letting us speak. Among our fellow Muslims, the original question was regarding collective prayer. Let me at least finish explaining that point before we move on to other things. It isn't written in any Hanafi fiqh book. Rather, the opposite is stated. I refer to all the fatwa books in Arabic, not Urdu, as Urdu ones are modern. Original Hanafi fiqh is in Arabic, and they all state it isn't proven. Yes, Allama Zafar Ahmad Usmani, may Allah have mercy on him, did mention something, but he came much later. Whereas original Hanafi fiqh has existed for long. People are simply following the opinion of Allama Zafar Usmani.